Hey, what is up, YouTube boxing family? It is K right here. I am back with another good video for you guys today for the channel. I know that y'all have been seeing me live today. I was mainly just doing that just to kill some time, but I will be trying to upload some more, good videos, probably League of Legends related. Definitely more content on my console, in which I'm waiting on a high definition. Well, pretty much it's like a USB, HDMI to console type of converter. So like basically like it's similar to a easy cap, device that people use for recording gameplay. So this is more of like a HDMI to USB video game capture card type of splitter device, where I'm able to just hook up my HDMI cord just straight up to the device, and then the only thing that I need to do in order to make sure that I have my device properly prioritized is just to make sure that everything is just straightened out with the HDMI cables just to be plugged in. But hopefully, if that device does come sooner than later, it was supposed to come on Saturday, but unfortunately it didn't come. So that's pretty much like the only downside to dealing with that type of bullshit. But either way, I will be bringing out more console gameplay. It's just that I tend to have a little bit of difficulty trying to get like the best quality using my easy cap recorder, because everything is basically through a composite cable. But that's nonetheless, and I will try to come out with more content sometime soon. But yeah, let's talk about boxing. Let's talk about David Benavidez. I'm gonna make the case for why I believe David Benavidez is a superb killer at 168, but he is pretty much equivalent to Kevin Durant in the NBA. And this title will be called Why I Believe David Benavidez is the Kevin Durant of Boxing. So yeah, let's get right into it. Obviously, basketball and boxing, two different sports, but it's really good to use those, comparisons at times, because guys like David Benavidez is a very, very good example of what you would call a developing level dangerous athlete, where you have an athlete that came into the game very young, and his trajectory ceiling, as a rookie leading up to a veteran level fighter in his prime, shows that he's ready for all the top level smoke that's put in front of him. And I think the biggest thing about David Benavidez is that he he doesn't fight like your traditional Mexican type of fighter. He's not a brawler. He is a bona fide inside boxer puncher. And how I can properly describe his style, he has like a Tommy Hearns walk you down type of style mixed with a Carlos Monzon, or I would even say like similar to Salvador Sanchez in a way. I mean, he has a little bit of flair in that department, but I mean, if you want to put him next to like guys that are not as heavily, skilled in footwork, he's definitely next to Juan Manuel Marquez, because he has a really, really good inside game to prioritize his defensive ring IQ, inside the pocket. And obviously, David Benavidez dominated David Lemieux respectfully in their fight. And yeah, that was a very, very good fight. David Lemieux came to fight, but he is not a natural 168 pounder. Even though he had gotten fights under his belt at 168, but he's never fought like a top killer in that division like a David Benavidez, where he was trying to hurt David Benavidez leading up to the, knockout, or to the TKO stoppage, like more so like it was a corner stoppage. So David, like, arguably knocked him out. He basically, knocked him out through the corner, in a way, or he made him quit through his corner. But David Benavidez, he came to fight. He unleashed his true potential of what he brings to anybody in the super middleweight division. And I think the biggest issue with a lot of people disregarding David Benavidez's fighting style is that they think David Benavidez is just this walk you down type of come forward fighter, and he doesn't have any defense. He just does, basic stuff to the point where he ends up getting hit too much and he doesn't make any proper adjustments. And I disagree with that because with this fight against David Lemieux, he actually boxed off of his back foot. He did a very, very good job just sliding around the ring, just being so hyper intelligent, and it just looked like a Kevin Durant equivalent type of fighter where you never seen this out of him. You never seen him like actually do that, but the fact that David just used those improvements from the gym just made me have more belief in his skills because I was under the impression to think David was not like that, and he can't utilize his defensive strategy that he's been working in the gym with his father and other stablemates. But no, David Benavidez, he came out to fight. He came to fight, but he boxed beautifully. He made David look really, really shocked, and he just looked like a very, very destructive, high-level, 1,000 IQ level fighter that you don't see too often. Honestly, David Benavidez is the most deadliest fighter out of all fighters in boxing. I don't care what anybody has to say. He's like a Kevin Durant mixed with a Mexican version of a Tommy Hearns type of fighter. He's that type of dude where no matter how much you try to pound him down, he's still going to adapt and be more dangerous as the fight goes on. And that's what I like out of David, because David has shown massive improvements with all the adjustments that he's been working on. So I got to give David his props, because not a lot of fighters do that. And David's just that type of dude where, if he wants to win, he's going to win. He's not going to fuck around. He's actually going to actually work his butt off and put in the work to win. So I give David all his props, because he really came to fight. He really showed why he is who he is, and I'm proud of him, because David Benavidez that fights like that against a Jamal Charlo, he can very well stop him, but I don't think he will, because I think Jamal Charlo, he's just as dangerous as David Benavidez, and I think David Benavidez would very well get hurt, and he could easily get dropped by Jamal Charlo. But I think Jamal Charlo, he would be a lot more frustrated if David actually, came to box, and if he actually used high level ring IQ tactics, against Jamal Charlo, he could very well beat him, but it's not going to be a very easy win. David Benavidez has not really seen a full distance victory in quite a long time, and I think his mindset is to come in to kill you. He's not coming in to bring it to the scorecard. So I like that out of David, because knowing that he wants to knock everybody out, that's a good idea. But the problem is just that David Benavidez, he just needs to stay focused in not looking for the knockout and just looking to box, and then knockouts can come naturally. Because if you don't get the knockout, all right, that's fine, but if you could score knockdowns, then that's even more valuable, because getting the knockdowns will eventually form into a potential knockout. But I don't really think David should even be focusing on that. I think David should very well be focusing on what he can do to get better, and just keep constantly improving. And that's why that I have it titled the way I do, because I think he's very, very Kevin Durant like, for the sport of boxing. Obviously Kevin Durant, he came into the NBA at like what, 18 years old or 19 years old? I think it was 18 years old. But David Benavidez, he was like the same person. And the only difference is that Kevin Durant, he's like 6'9", and I think David, he's like my height. He's like 6 feet or 6'1", if I'm not mistaken. So David, he has a lot of good physical level attributes. So I definitely appreciate the skill set that Mr. Benavidez has, because he's a very, very good fighter, and he's just such a growing talent, man. That's why that I liked watching David ever since he won his first title opportunity against Ronald Gavril. So I think David Benavidez, he's proven himself to be tested with like the top level opposition, and he's only getting better. That's like the dangerous part about him. David is just that type of dude where he's not afraid to give you problems. It's just that the problem with David is just that he needs to just have those boxing fundamentals sharpened up. But I think that's obviously coming with progression every single fight. So I think the reason why he hasn't shown his true boxing ability is mainly due to the fact that he's more comfortable going for knockouts, and I think that's not how he should always try to see like a fight. He could definitely box. He has like great boxing, potential, but the problem with him is just that David Benavidez, he's just like the type of dude where he doesn't like to go to the scorecards. And I mean, I can definitely see why David wants to do that, because he doesn't he doesn't want to go to a particular situation where he could potentially get robbed. So I definitely like that out of David, but I think at the end of the day, this is called boxing. This is not called knockouts. And I think David Benavidez, the way he fought against David Lemieux, that's going to present a lot of problems in the future against some high-level names like a David Morrell or a Jamal Charlo, or I'd probably say Caleb Plant, honestly, because if you really think about it, Caleb Plant, he would struggle against that type of style. And I mean, David Benavidez, he came to fight, but it's just like just imagine what that type of style can bring to frustrate somebody in a fight, because you're giving them so many problems, so many destructive looks, and so many irregular movements, to the point where you just have let the timing down, and on top of that, you have let the footwork down. That's why I like watching guys like Errol Spence in that manner, because he's so good at positioning his feet where he doesn't need to look flashy. He just needs to go in and get the job done. So if David Benavidez and his team can take pages out of Errol Spence's book, where they're just obviously focusing on the fundamentals and just keep improving on the ring IQ, that will help a lot. I think David's already there, and I think David's progression to become a obviously well, I believe it's a 2-time world champion. Once again with Canelo. Well, actually no, a 3-time world champion. Knowing that he lost his belt off the scale on that unexpected weight situation. I think David becoming champion once again and holding on to his titles, and eventually going for undisputed, that's soon to come. I think David, he is the most dangerous fighter, or one of the most dangerous fighters at super middleweight, and the super middleweight division is getting very, very hot, and I don't see Canelo Alvarez surviving at super middleweight. I think the level of competition is getting a lot more dangerous. You got guys like David Morrell, Edgar Berlanga, in which I don't really believe in Berlanga that much. knowing that I'm going to his fight on June 11th. But but no, like I think Berlanga, if he stays focused and he can, keep his skills up at a high level, then he can definitely become a huge player at 168. Um, I think a guy like I think a guy like Jamal Charlo, that's going to be a huge name. Definitely sparking up 168. Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, he's going to be making some crazy ass noise at a super middleweight. I mean, there's just plenty of other fighters out there that we haven't heard of yet, and that's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens, because the level of competition at super middleweight, it's just only getting bigger and bigger. So I think David Benavidez, he's going to be ready for all the top dogs that are going to emerge at 168. But I think the problem with him is just that he just needs to learn how to adapt properly to certain styles that are going to present more of a boxer puncher type of style, and just the defensive ring IQ. That's all. But either way, David, he really shocked me. He did a very fantastic job prioritizing himself on defense, catching those shots very, very well, making David Lemieux useless on the inside. David's shots weren't even hurting David. It actually kind of looked like David was just eating those shots so well, to the point where David Lemieux was like, dude, I can't even hurt this guy, because he knows that David, he's like a true natural 168 pounder. And David Lemieux, he looked miniature. Like he looked like a he looked like a mini life-size version of like a, how should I say? I don't want to be disrespectful, because I really have a lot of respect for David Lemieux, but I just think based off of the his build as a fighter, he looks like just like a very weaker version of like a, how should I say? I don't even want to say Kelly Pavlik, because Kelly Pavlik, he's like a horrible example of using somebody as like a former super middleweight champion, even though that he's American. But honestly, man, I mean, if you really want me to be very crude, I mean, he's pretty much like the worser version of like a Jean Pascal, because it's like he can punch, but the problem is just that he's not really there to really box. He's actually just there to just try to go for like that puncher's chance. And I mean, at the end of the day, what the problem is just that David Lemieux, he can fight. It's just the problem is that he doesn't look for any boxing he doesn't look for any boxing adjustments. He looks to come to the fight to try to knock you out. And obviously the style with him and David Benavidez meshed very well into David's favor, because David, he was able to prioritize himself, and he was able to make it obviously make the fight very, very deadly, to the point where he was able to actually do his thing. So either way, like, I mean, David Benavidez, he did a good job, and I like to see bigger and better improvements in the future. But I think honestly, just keep improving, keep doing what you have to do, and eventually everything will come rightfully put in its place. And I think David Benavidez, he's just going to keep getting better and better. And I can easily see him there at the world title stage, fighting for undisputed or big unification title fights, where he's going to get big money. And the same thing will go for 175. So I think David, he's in a good spot. But as far as David Lemieux, I think he has some good breathing room for the 168-pound division. I think he can make some noise too. But I mean, he should definitely keep away from guys like David Benavidez. And I mean, if he still wants to fight, I mean, go for it. but I just think honestly he should probably just go back down to 160. That's probably his best ceiling. So I wouldn't mind seeing David Lemieux fight again, but maybe it is time for him to hang it up. So I personally wouldn't want to see him fight anymore, but that's just my personal viewpoint on it. I just think he's already done enough for the sport, and he shouldn't need to give himself more damage than for what it already has been. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching. I just figured that I give my initial thoughts on this, and yeah, I mean, be sure to keep me or be sure to stay updated with everything that I post on the channel. I usually come out with with a lot of viable updates and try to do the best I can to, prioritize like myself. So I definitely appreciate the support that people do give to me. So I just try to do the best I can to be the best at what I can be. So either way, thank you guys, and until next time, salute to the mighty LDBC, and yeah, I'm out.